This is a podcast where we complain about everything and offer no real solutions to anything. I am joined by fellow cohorts Kenneth. Say hello, Kenneth.
Oh, actually,
Okay. Say hello, Isaiah.
Hi.
Hi. Okay.
Hi.
So we're going to start it off today on our first flagship podcast, talking about craziness that happened to us this last week. So, Isaiah, what do you have going on last week?
So, my crazy neighbor got kicked out of his house across the street on Monday.
Okay.
He decided that it would be a good idea to take off his shirt and his pants, by the way. He didn't really take off his pants, but they were basically down to his ankles. And he decided that he would like to cuss out the whole neighborhood. And he did. And then he proceeded to throw all of his clothes outside of the household onto the grass. And then he got mad and left. But the best part about this is that this is not the first time that something like this has happened. The first time he got arrested was because he decided that it would be funny to fight people. So domestic violence is bad, children. So, it was about 7 o'clock in the morning. It was a great morning. And all of a sudden I hear a bunch of people yelling. And I look outside and there are 7 police officers outside of my front door. And they are restraining one man. And it is this crazy man. And you know what? He was determined. But he ultimately failed.
That's awesome.
That is my week.
Oh my god.
Crazy neighbors.
So wait, has he thrown his clothes out on the street multiple times?
No, but he does stay in the front of his parking lot and takes his shirt off and just randomly starts walking
This
around
is the
talking
thing
to
you
people.
see like angry girlfriends do is throw clothes out in the street. Not someone just being
Not
like
someone who lives alone on his own.
No, he doesn't live alone on his own. He
Hold
lives
on.
with his
Well,
dad.
what if he has multiple personalities, and he constantly kicks himself out of his own house? He's just screw you. I don't want to live with you anymore. I hate you. Screw you.
You have to
this
wake up
place.
in the middle of the night, go to the bathroom. Who does that? I do.
Or he thinks his clothes are a government conspiracy.
This is true. These are all things that are possible.
We walk around with an aluminum foil hat.
No, he doesn't. But
he
I'm
may
pretty
not
sure
be-
his teeth are all aluminum foil. Just probably
Really?
it's a prediction, but I'm pretty sure it's a fact. He looks like the guy that has gold
Scary.
teeth.
Yeah. Aluminum foil teeth. That's ridiculous.
Interesting. Okay, Kenny, what happened?
So, you know what happened? Okay, so we had this crazy amounts of rain last night. Hurricane, epic proportions, whatnot. You've had your mom working First Plaza, right?
Yeah.
So, I guess that's the northwest stairway that goes to the Civic Center parking lot. Is it the Civic Center parking lot?
The one that's...
It's the parking lot under Civic Plaza.
Oh yeah, okay, I
Yeah.
know what
For
you're
those of you who don't know, we live in Albuquerque, New Mexico, so these are all relative terms to our city, but we live in a desert essentially. So the hurricane winds are scary because they aren't really hurricane winds; they're just winds and water.
And we're not accustomed to things like that. We're
So-
accustomed to dirt and not water.
Wind and water scares us.
We've actually decided that we only survive off of dirt now, not water.
Okay, so both these things are below ground level. So when you get a ton of rain, it makes sense that the stuff's going to run down. Well, it ran in, flooded the parking structure that's just a couple feet below ground level. So you have this giant pooling in this parking structure.
Well, isn't the bottom level of Civic Plaza like 3 stories down, or 2 stories down?
2 stories down?
Yeah, because there's it's Civic Plaza, and then there's one level and then a bottom level. This is true, my friend.
This is the bottom, very bottom story.
Yeah.
You have that running into bottom story of this building, flooding it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it was kind of,
They were on the the Facebook for the Albuquerque Journal. They had some different things, showing some things, and there was a guy sitting up there on First and Central, and he was that like loft up above the theater, I think,
Yeah.
or up above
Yeah.
Tucano's.
Yeah.
Well, it was a person up there, and they're filming, and there's like this car driving down Central, and Right after you get past Second Street, it dips down and like goes below the train tracks, and that
Oh, yeah.
entire thing was filled. Like the bottom had to be filled with at least, thinking probably good like 15 feet of water. Because you know how it dips all the way down
Yeah.
and comes back up. It was flooded like 4 feet up, like above the main street, or on First and Central. There was a car driving. It showed like this Subaru Outback driving through, and the water was up like midway on their doors. And it's just like driving, and
Hey,
it's
watch
getting
out,
deeper as
lesbians.
it goes down. It's just getting deeper until
Just
there's
stall
like, until it started floating to the side. And like several people were all like running towards the car to try and get them out. And these people just like kept driving, like, we're gonna make it. We're gonna outlap this. I mean, it may have been like some like tourist or something who didn't know the street dipped down. Well, I don't know how you could,
'Cause
because
there's
you're
like
at
a
eye level
bridge,
with
yeah.
a bridge.
Yeah,
But
let's.
I
so,
think
so they
this-
drive down into this thing, and the car just starts like floating to the left slightly, and all these people are like rushing, trying to get them, and they're like like pulling them out of the window, and the car just kind of sinks down. It disappears.
I like how it got up to the point where, hey, it's on my window. I should keep going. Let me do that. This is a
I'm
good
not gonna,
idea.
I'll be just fine. I'm not gonna die.
Like that car in the 50s that also turns into a boat.
Oh no, it's like on Top Gear.
Yeah.
They're amphibious vehicles
Oh,
that never
yeah.
work.
Bunch of
Okay,
barely
so
turning on.
I had nothing happen this week, which was a good week. I went back to the gym. That was about it. But
So you
yeah.
pointed something interesting out while we were there. You had your little JBL speaker, and you were like, "This is amazing. How do people live without this?" How did they? I mean, you have. How did we?
Live without technology?
Yeah,
I'm still not sure of that.
that's such a
I still
weird thing.
constantly.
I don't like
I'm-
thinking about it. I get nightmares.
I'm wondering how people lived with the closest thing to text messages being the Pony Express.
How did they express ideas? Like we had 1800s, with giant.
Well, if you, I think of it this way. They didn't express ideas, and that's why technology grew through so slowly.
Was it slowly though?
It was slowly. If you look at the advances from the middle of this or last century to the end of the last century, it's astronomically just been pushed forward because ideas are just spit out there. And half the time it sucks because half the ideas are stupid, because now we have this beautiful thing called Twitter where any idiot with a trash can for a brain can just spew their ideas to everyone and contact intelligent people and just spew crap at them. Just intense proportions.
Think they knew about this and they created that 160 character limit on purpose?
Oh yeah, of course. They knew about that because they know about Facebook rants and giant comments being created. So they wanted to cut people down to 120 characters so they can be creative about their stupidity.
Premeditated.
We want to educate the idiots.
It's premeditated dumb.
We want the idiots to be educated in their stupidity.
But if you even look at it, if ideas and concepts didn't agree with governments and leading powers at that time,
Rebellion.
they were just pushed down.
Rebellion.
So something like an open media now
Fight
is
about it.
able to actually push a lot more things forward, because if you looked at like when Galileo was figuring out there's other planets out there and there's other things that exist, and they're and we're not revolving around stuff. Or was it Aristotle that did the we're not revolving around the earth, everything's revolving around the sun? Was it him?
That was Thomas Jefferson.
Okay, Thomas Jefferson.
I'm
We'll
pretty
go with
sure
Thomas
Abraham
Jefferson.
Lincoln is the guy that did that. I think Abraham Lincoln's
I
the
think
right
Albert
guy.
Einstein.
Okay,
was-
so Thomas
Adolf
Jefferson
Hitler.
discovered. Well, during that, the church was ruling most of the known world, and they said, "Wait, no, this goes against what we're telling people. Lynch him and hang him." And then he went back. He's like, "Oh, wait, no, sorry, I forgot. The Earth is the middle. My mistake." And that's how ideas were quenched back then. So I don't even know what we're talking about anymore. Oh, JLB audio.
yeah.
Yeah, portable Bluetooth speakers.
JLB
The world is
audio?
awesome now.
JLB audio?
Yeah, so it was
JBL?
Aristotle.
Yeah.
It was on Aristotle.
no.
Okay,
There you
yeah.
go.
No, I thought it was Galileo.
No, Galileo, I think, set up the
His
framework for
achievements
it.
include improvements to the telescope and consequent astronomical observations.
He just discovered everything was out there. Okay, cool. So, the Halo anniversary trailer. Did you guys watch it? The cinematic trailer.
Cinematic trailer.
Yes.
Yes. What do you guys think of it?
The Halo 2 trailer?
Yes.
It made me realize how bad everything used to look,
Yeah.
but I
know.
never felt like it was that bad.
Yeah, I remember playing that game for the first time because it was it came out on Xbox and it was right on, well, not really right on the tail end. It was about a year and a half ahead of the tail end, I think, of the Xbox. That came out, and I mean that was the prettiest game. I remember looking at Cortana in that game and going, "Holy crap!
She's pretty.
How are they going to get better than this? This is so freaking pretty." And now, when you look at the comparison videos, the Halo 2 anniversary trailer versus like original Halo 2, there's a side by side on YouTube that actually shows it to, and I mean, Cortana just looks like this weird half flat stick figure in the original, but now it looks so pretty.
So the real question is 10 years from now,
Will it happen
are we
again?
going to say the same thing about the Halo 2 remake?
Well, the thing,
Are we
yeah,
gonna
I'm
say,
looking
"Oh,
at
wow,
it,
that looks way awful compared to what it is now."
and logically, that's exactly what I thought then. How are things going to get better? But now, when I look at things look so lifelike that the only thing they can go to from here is just being lifelike.
But didn't we think it was so lifelike 10 years ago?
No, it just looked pretty.
Oh, okay.
Things were really lifelike 10 years ago because we didn't have things like Avatar yet. And we didn't have all these like really pretty CGI things like in was it the Hobbit 2, Desolation of Smaug, where they made an actual like just pure CGI dragon that looked like it could exist. Like it didn't look like an animated thing, it looked like a real thing. And so I think we're on that threshold now of possibly plateauing in the next few years. Gaming, just because it's come so far and it looks so very close to life that it's I think a nice plateau is coming.
See, my
Where-
opinion though,
Go.
is a little different. I think we're hitting the limit of our actual physical capabilities of seeing this stuff. The difference. We're getting to the point where increasing number of polygons in each of these CGI characters is getting ridiculous. But on top of that, we're getting to the point where we're also not being able to see the difference in polygons. But what we're missing though is a somewhat like what I noticed in that Halo 2 anniversary video was that these characters look almost plastic. They didn't
Yeah.
really have like
I
the
did notice that.
little features that humans have, like little tiny hairs just here and there, or like a wrinkle here or there.
Well, I mean that's probably gonna be the place to go, but in those little tiny things, I mean, will we look back at these and go, how did it look so bad in this? Because
Yes,
little
it's
tiny
details.
little
Yeah.
tiny details can make a big deal, but it's not. Oh my gosh, that
I think
face was just flat.
I think the difference is
That's
that
Cortana's
what,
face was
that's what I'm
just a
saying
flat
now.
thing.
It's just flat.
yeah.
Their features are just like they got a few scales, but there's no other defining details on who they are. Like if Arbiter took off his helmet, you wouldn't know who the heck the Arbiter was. You'd just be like another elite.
See, the reason I'm hoping for a plateau is that we get to a place where graphics don't really matter anymore, where it's not so much about the graphics. Because when like Call of Duties right now, all you look at in Call of Duties are this Call of Duty looks better than the last one, but the gameplay is still the same. It's still kind of the same crappy mechanics. It's still the same kind of crappy spawning system. Kind of the same like weird little bullet delays and bullet detections
Yeah.
and all the problems with that. But all the main focus of most designers these days is making the game look better instead of really kind of making it run better.
But-
And there is a lot of that involved in the minds of people and game creators, but the most of the money and most of the time is put forth towards what the graphics look like and how good the game runs or looks. And now with all the 60 frames per second crap, how smooth it looks. Stuff. So I think we need to get to this plateauing stage where, yeah, okay, we've gotten to this plateau of how good everything looks. Now we focus back on gameplay because that's how the Xbox was. The Xbox kind of broke this weird plateau in a lot of gamings, like with PS2. If you go back and look at PS2 games, they look so crappy. They're so bad. But across the scale, they all pretty much looked that bad until Xbox broke this weird plateau with it, and then had nowhere to go after that. So it's just gameplay just got incredibly better right after that.
I think the introduction of that was more about the multiplayer aspect. That they introduced a more
They had to do something.
yeah.
They had to go somewhere because they couldn't just constantly sit on this flat plane of
Which is
the
why
same
I
gameplay.
think the era of storytelling is somewhat dead. You might see it in indie games now, but what I think now is happening is they're going into more technological advancements. So we're going to think Oculus Rift now. We're going into that area. We're trying to find out, 3D ways of displaying games. We're not going back to story. That story's dead. We're going into new
something
ways
I'm very sad about.
for the gamer to immerse themselves in this game, create a better experience, create it more lifelike, as freaky as that is.
Well, this almost kind of proves my point that they're rehashing Halo. I mean, I am so happy that they're bringing back Halo 2, but they're bringing back Halo 2 just to improve the graphics. Show us it. I mean, I'm ecstatic about it because we get to play it on Xbox One, but it is all just about making it look better still. Hey, we're just going to bring back the same exact game and make it look better so you guys can play it now. Well,
Is that
it
really
looks
a
better.
bad thing, though?
No, it's not really a bad thing
Then
at
why
the
are we-
moment because it's Halo. So it's not really a bad thing. If they start doing it with a lot of games, it wouldn't really fly for
So
that long.
If they updated Call of Duty 4, would you be happy? Because that was
No.
considered one of the best multiplayer games of all time.
I
Because
wouldn't.
they've updated Call of Duty 4.
I
Yeah,
think
Call of Duty 4 is just come. It's
Modern
we're
Warfare 3.
still playing it. I
that's
mean, I
true.
understand because it was one of the first ones, so it's considered one of the best multiplayer ones because it was the initial one that's got everyone like, oh my gosh, hey, look at Call of Duty. Let's get on this train. But really, what we're looking at right now with Ghost and whatever this Advanced Warfighter, is that it?
Yeah.
That's just what we're looking at. We're looking at Call of Duty 4 better, or that looks better, because nothing's really changed. Call of Duty.
The AI still suck. That's kind of weird. So that's what my question is going to be is but you sort of have this where they went through the skeletal structure of the source engine and what was it, Modern Warfare 3, stripped it down and remade it.
Yeah.
Is 343 doing that with anything with the Halo 2? I know they're keeping the engine from Halo 2, correct?
Well, Halo 2 is essentially the same game.
What do you mean?
They kept the engine. They've kept everything the same. The
Yeah.
only thing they've done is kind of, they've added. I wouldn't even call them minute details to Halo 2 maps. They've added pretty significant things to Halo 2 maps, like on Ascension. They showed there's like 3 different buttons around the map that activate this shield that goes around that little middle spin thingy. Little middle, like, was it like a satellite dish thing?
Yeah.
If you press any of those buttons, a big shield pops up there. That dramatically changes the gameplay of that map. Like, dramatically does it. That's not a small thing. That's a very big thing that changes the entire gameplay of that map. Because now control of those different buttons is a key thing. And control of that middle area is now a key thing. Where it used to be control of the 2 sniper towers was the main focus in that map.
I think I don't know. It kind of remain that way because you can't really control the entire map. That's just not realistic.
Well, so maybe the control of 3 buttons isn't a big thing, but control of that middle shield area is, where you can pop out, snipe a guy, pop back in, do that kind of stuff.
So do they really change it, or do they just move it? Did they
What?
move the point of emphasis to somewhere else rather than it being another place? They didn't really
Yeah,
change
no, they
anything.
moved the point of emphasis somewhere
So
else.
they
No,
just
they
made
didn't
it
So
look
they
different.
changed the gameplay
move
of the
it.
map.
They added one.
Yeah.
And-
Well,
They didn't
no,
really
they
change
added one, but
anything,
they
it's
added
just-
such a significant thing that it changed it because now so much is blocked off by that shield that you can't sit in the big tower up on top and just tag people with a sniper or with a BR. You can't just sit there and tag people all over the map because this giant area of the map has now been blocked off when the shield's up. You just can't see, and you can't shoot through that area. So it's now just blocked off. Now the two towers, because of their like view, they could still have their little battles and that could be controlled. But such a big part of the map has been blocked off from being able to shoot people that it's not as big of a reward now to grab the sniper and tag people as they pump it or jump into the middle and go into the middle.
I think about it. That might be a good thing.
Yeah, it's a really weird thing. It may create great gameplay. It may just be a new way to play that map, and it all flows very well. But um, they are creating a different thing.
Okay. Yeah, but it's just because they have also added that entire um, kind of archway that you get on the streets, correct? Like you have the elbow, I guess you would call it, from the Banshee platform to that uh, VR tower, I guess it was. And they've added, instead of it just being straight open the entire way, you have now this these platforms that kind of block more of this um, of these long range sightlines. So with these long range sightlines just being slowly taken and taken out, it kind of ruins a game that was, just well, not really a game, but a map that was heavily based around these long range sightlines. So I think
Are they trying to speed it up?
I don't think it'll speed it up. I think it'll slow it down a lot more because now once this person gets across this point, like I'm just thinking capture the flag in my head. Once this person gets to this point in the line, there's no way of recovering. Whereas in most,
Oh well, yeah, that's actually a very good point to make because capture the flag, the disc was one of the premier places to kill a person
yeah,
because it's so open there. When somebody jumps into that disc, you just tag them because that's the really only open area because there's so much land and nonsense.
and that's what I keep thinking is capture the flag, and I'm like, this is, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah, the only really other thing they added was a extension to a bridge from Big Tower to a Banshee platform, but that didn't do anything. There was already a skill jump to get up above that area or to get up to the middle from that area.
Yeah.
So that little change it created a nice little place for cover, but didn't drastically change the map. So with these big giant implementations, I'm interested to see what they do with other maps like Zanzibar. I want to see what they do with that map just because if they introduce something big and huge to Ascension that really changes the entire aspect of the map. I'm wondering if they're going to do that for all the places.
Wonder if they'll enable you to go back to the vanilla that map too.
That's what I'm hoping too. I'm really hoping that that all like there's like an original map playlist that just lets you play all these maps unadulterated. Because that would be a good place to go back to if these maps are bad in any way.
Mm.
And they may get to a point where people hate something so much that they just have to rip it out real quick. Say, okay, we understand. We're just gonna deactivate these three buttons and on an update.
I feel like they did that with the map before in one of their previous games.
Yeah, that sounds rather familiar.
I don't know why Zanzibar. I don't get why does everyone like Zanzibar? It
I've always loved Zanzibar. It's more of like a siege map. They did like a siege type
Yeah.
thing to it. What was it? What was that called that they did in Halo Reach?
Dominion? No.
What was it called? I don't remember what it was called. But But that siege thing where you had to get your team and run up and tactically attack a place so you could take out its guys and capture this like one little point. And then after you captured that, they would spawn back at another place. You would go up and capture that next point. That's a map that would be fantastic for that because you could start out in the water kind of area. You wouldn't just start out in the open, so you could just get tagged over and over. But there's a lot of rocks and different things, and two different sides of that.
D-Day all over again.
Yeah, yeah, like that D-Day custom map we made a long time ago on that map because it sets that up perfectly. But you have guys sitting protecting that wall, and like there's a little walkthrough on that wall. If you capture that little walkthrough or something like that, it could be pushed back to like that that little platform right next to the wheel, and do that, then go inside the building, and there's a little thing in there. That's a map set up perfectly for that. But the thing is, people don't really realize how big Zanzibar is.
Yeah.
And it's a great map for capture the flag, which is fantastic because there's no symmetry involved in Zanzibar at all.
Yeah.
It's a beach, gate, a wheel thing, and then a building. And so there's no symmetry involved in there. There's nothing. The two maps don't look like each other at all. Except I remember while playing that game, no side was really better than the other. You wouldn't really favor one side over the other. The building was nice because you could sit in there and you could just hold that building and let them run up and just hold that building. But the beach was nice because heck, the flag was wide open. You were to get on it, and people were standing on that wall, you would just get tagged every time and you couldn't get to it because it was so wide open. So the amazing thing was there was no symmetry to that map at all, except it was so balanced in how it played.
But that's, I just went back and played Halo 3, and they made a remake of it. I can't think of the name of it right now, but that was my problem with it, is people just forgot about those sides of the map. They didn't go to the building, they didn't go to the beach. They just stayed in the middle, and they fought around the big wheel.
Yeah.
So it made this 16v16 map a 4v4 map, and you just had to take forever because you spawned in the building and on the beach, and you had to walk forever to get back to the fight.
Well, that's Call of Duty players though. Call of Duty has spawned this ridiculous thing that's thrown like tactical ability out the window. You have really good Call of Duty players who know how to spawn trap people like on Blitz. They could just get in little key locations where they're kind of looking at a brick or kind of looking at a wall and a spawn point. And because their screen is focused on the wall, the spawn doesn't get that threat assessment of the aim. So when a person spawns, they just tap over and tag them over and over and over. And so you have those kind of tactical thinkers in Call of Duty. But then you just have the average Joe now that has no tactical thinking at all and is just, I'm going to run in with 2 SMGs. Or dead. And that's all he thinks. So we might encounter a lot of that in Halo in the Halo remake, but I think it'll fix itself. Because you're going to have several good guys who are going to get up on the top of that building that's on the top of the wall and just start tagging people. People are going to need to get over to him to get rid of him. You're going to have people sitting over on the big tower behind that wheel tagging people, or people going to need to get over to him. And I so hope they just keep the maps, or they keep vanilla maps, so they could or so that we could play, because they're so balanced with different machine gun turrets and different things like that makes total map control a very big priority in people's minds, instead of let's just run all in the middle, last one standing they get the extra point for their team, and then run all in the middle, and then do that again,
And then
we'll say and then one more time.
and then
and then
and then
and then the blah and then the
yeah. Anyways, off that rabbit trail. Let's move over to Destiny real crap. Or real crap.
Real crap.
it's the real
Talk
crap
about
time.
some real crap
It's
now.
time for some real crap.
It's time for some real crap. Real crap time. Okay, so I had you guys go watch the Destiny level 29 Titan video that
Yep.
IGN did. Okay, what were your views on that?
It was interesting. I was surprised he wasn't just like looking at those level 2 dregs and just they didn't fall over. I was
Yeah.
surprised he took a few shots and I was
Yeah.
like,
That's what I thought too.
Yeah.
That's probably the weirdest thing I didn't even think of that till now, but that's the weirdest thing I came with back from the video. That while he was doing all that he was doing,
He was still not overly powerful. Like
yeah,
he didn't
well,
completely
and that may
dominate
have
the level
been
twos.
that may have been a setup thing that they had for the guys. That
yeah,
their weapon damage wasn't all crazy for what they were doing. But if you saw him, he put like 4 bursts into a level 2 dreg. Now, if that
it was an
is
exotic weapon.
Yeah, with
yeah,
his
with an exotic
with
weapon.
his
Oh, that was
weapon that
cool too. We got to
bleeds.
see our first real exotic weapon. Um,
We got
I hope that was just a
dumbed down version of what the actual damage
yeah,
is going to be.
they're they're just working on it, and because that's the entrance to the thing, they just say the exotic weapons actually or their weapons don't do this much damage.
Yeah.
Just for testing purposes and all. Right now, these level 2 dregs are going to be able to take 5 bursts from this exotic weapon.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was weird. That might be something interesting to look at because that also on the flip side could be kind of cool. That no matter where you are, you're not OP.
You know, interesting you talk about that. One thing that kind of intrigued me was he had already created a loop to increase his super in that video. So he could melee someone, and it would recharge faster because of an armor effect he had. And his melee would recharge his super, I think. But
Yeah.
he had this
So
little loop going on, and this loop was like incredible in PvE. You couldn't really see it because he had some other effects that let him his super was always activated. We couldn't see how fast he recharged. But I think about it, and it does create some kind of OP effect in matchmaking, where you have like Iron Banner, what we saw in the beta, where you have your character developments in the gameplay. So I'm wondering now if people are going to be able to find a loophole that Bungie just kind of missed and overlooked because they have so many
So they
things to
can
look at. But
overpower.
yeah, they overlooked this one little loophole, and these people are just activating super after super. Someone's running
Yeah.
around with the golden gun the entire time with the
Yeah,
hunter
someone
because they have an effect with it.
they've just overpowered
well,
themselves to the
yeah,
point
I
where they're
don't
just
I
one
don't think
shotting
could be
everybody.
too crazy because generally in a match I'd get a golden gun about 3 times.
But it's not whether
And
you get it.
I had one element of that loop already in play.
But if you, that's
This
you
is
it's nothing compared to when you have the full thing going
yeah,
on.
when you have exotic pieces that just when you touch someone with your fist, your super recharges.
Yeah. So
Something exotic would put in multiplayer like that is
Well, I think that might be what Iron Banner's all about.
just completely overpowered combos with your
I
equipment.
think that
so
might
that
Well, I
ruin.
think it might push classes into actually acting how classes are supposed to act instead
Or
of really what we looked at the beta and matchmaking is every class really act the same in the beta. Every hunter pushed just as far forward and just as fast as every Titan, and every warlock was just in depth in the battle as everyone else. So
Oh, yeah.
everyone else really just kind of picked a class and said, "Hey, these are cool
this
supers.
one looks cool, so I want
Hey, I'm
this
going to
one."
use them in matchmaking." Instead of what I think is going to happen in the full game is you're going to get the crap kicked out of you over and over if you're a hunter just in the middle of the fight all the time.
Or does Iron Banner turn into everybody just one shotting each other because they all have ridiculous combos?
They
Well,
all have
that's hard for a
ridiculous.
Titan because if a warlock is sitting out at the edge of the map tagging people to go in for places, the Titan can't get to him and do his super because he's so far off. And the same for a warlock. A warlock is really going to have to hone in on that dude's area and hope the dude doesn't double jump or get out of there in time so his super will work.
So it's
And
going to
he's gonna
make
have
the
to aim it.
hunters overpowered.
No, it's going to make hunters, so they're going to have to sit out on the edge of the maps and hope they can get a chance to get shots off at these guys when they come outside. So Titans are going to sit inside the middle of the map and just play around inside buildings and do that stuff. Warlocks, I don't know what Warlocks are going to do. Warlocks is an odd class. I didn't get to play it, and it's
You know,
a weird class. I don't really understand its place in PvP.
no, it became really very, very apparent how like incredible the Warlock was in domination.
Well,
When
that stupid grenade.
when their super and their grenades would
Yeah.
last for a couple seconds, for just enough time for you to capture that point.
Yeah.
They would just sit in the doorway and you couldn't walk through it because you'd die from
And
it.
you could literally just turn the corner, use your super, drop that bomb, and kill everybody, and you
So
don't even see
Warlocks are
anybody.
So Warlock's place in PvP could be map control.
Yeah.
They control, or they could control and block off certain areas of the map, and that's their real purpose in the game. And then Warlocks usually sit on the outside of the map with snipers, kind of more long range
I mean,
rifles,
hunter.
scout rifles, hunters. Yeah, sorry. Hunters sit on the edge of the maps with these sniper rifles, long range scout rifles. Got things just popping people as they get brave and come outside to do stuff. And it really makes for this interesting gameplay where if you have all these things set up correctly, they all kind of work perfectly with each other. I think this game was set up really nicely in its multiplayer aspect because the Iron Banner kind of showed me that. Because when you played Iron Banner, you played more of this style. When I played Iron Banner, I sat out on the edge of the maps just in response to just getting wrecked by any Titan sitting inside the rooms. So I would no longer rush inside places. I would watch people do it and die over and over and over. But once, especially on the map Moon, on the B flag, when anyone came out to try and cap that thing or cap that flag, I'd just pop them and take them out, and it gave me complete B control of that map. But it's the same thing. I couldn't touch A. I can't get in A. I can't get around inside of A, and A just kind of ruined it for me, or A ruined me trying to progress on that flag at all. I
So
mean, I
that's why
do
I always had
stupid
us go up
stuff
your
like
seat.
try and run in there with a shotgun and pull something off, but at the end of the day, it turned out in failure in the end. But B, I was just ever successful sitting there as a hunter, just kind of tagging people anytime they came near it. It was nice. Are you gonna sneeze, Kenny? You gonna sneeze? Sneeze? Oh,
No, you
it
ruined
went
it.
away.
Soil that. Soil that.
So yeah, I think it'll evolve into being this is my play style. This is who I should choose, rather than it being like it usually always is, and how I initially chose the hunter. Oh my gosh, that dude has a revolver. I want to use a revolver all the time, and that's how I approached the game. And from the beginning, I said I want to be a hunter. I want to use a revolver. Now realizing you can use a revolver as any class, but I went into it that I was committed from the beginning to being a hunter, and I stuck with it, and I'm a hunter, and I love it.
Well, it also just so happened that the hunter catered exactly to your playstyle because
It
you are the
does,
sniper
and
that
it
sits
was-
back and just sits there.
It was
In
a
every
kinda
video
nice,
game, that is exactly what you are.
exactly. It was kind of
Since
nice.
Modern Warfare 2, you've been that way.
It was nice because that's how it turned out to be. Now, if I was and actually how I started multiplayer, I started with a shotgun really because that was my really good gun. But started playing multiplayer with a shotgun, and I could do some damage, but I could never like recover myself because if I was in a bad place and I pulled out golden gun, well, the dude takes like 3 seconds to go, "Pshaw, I have a golden gun," and if I was already half dead, well, I'd be dead by the time the golden gun came up in the air.
Yeah.
So, but with the Titan, it's just boom. Things
Yeah.
just die right in front of you, and they have that really close quarter recovery ability to where if they're done, they're down and out. They can just tap these two things and really like kind of reclaim their space real quick before other people come in because they just have this get out of jail free card in close quarters. But none of the other supers are really a get out of jail free card. The Warlock kind of has one.
The
but you can
Warlock
still
is
kill him
very
before
get out of
he
jail
shoots
free
it out.
card.
No, because it still takes some time to pull it out. I mean, it's kind
Yeah,
of it's
the
not a
Warlock has
it's
to
not a
pop up
it's not a
and like charge it and push
get
it
out of jail free card. It's more like you're coming to jail with me.
Yeah, it's
That's
kind of
what the
once you.
warlocks and the hunters kind of are.
That's what I enjoyed about
But the Titan isn't. The Titan's
Die.
instant. It's just dead. People around
Panic.
me in a certain vicinity are now dead.
Yeah, and that's I guess that's where it kind of like balanced out was that Titan's really close range. You pick a Titan off in the middle of the open, it's gone. So if you're stupid enough to play the
because
Titan and run out in the
they have
middle,
that extended armor that no one else has. They have that. They have more armor than anyone else has. So in a close combat fight between a hunter and a Titan, if they shoot each other in the same exact spots at the same exact times, the Titan's going to win every single time because they have more health and more shields than the hunters do. So that's why he's always going to be good. And the warlock is that weird. Isn't the warlock's the middle ground, right? Between the two health.
yeah,
Yes.
Yeah. So it'll be closer, but even between a warlock and a hunter, the warlock will win every time, just because of sheer amount of health. So I think it all balances it out so nicely that when you're playing, I think people that are hunters trying to go in close combat and stuff are going to realize that very soon. Be crap. I should be a Titan. Why am I not a Titan? And switch over to Titan, so their gameplay and the abilities of this character really mash together and work together. And if somebody creates this thing where he's able to do that kind of, or where he's able to use a super 6, 7 times a match, he's going to have a Titan on the other team that's able to use a super 6, 7 times a match as well. And we're going to have hunters out on the outsides of the map able to use their supers 6, 7, 8 times a map, but they can't get the Titans inside. And I think it's just going to turn into this really well crafted thing because while I was playing, I noticed there's no OP class. It
because they're all
directly
kind of OP.
responds.
Yeah, I think the idea is that they're all are really
Yeah.
good at what they do.
Everyone's special, no one's special.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So no one's overpowered because everyone's powered kind of equally.
It's not that they're
In
powered
being
equally. It's just that
overpowered equally.
they just all do something really good. And if you're just so happen to be caught in one of the really good areas that one of them works in, you're going to get destroyed if you're not the same class.
Yeah, I can't remember how many times I heard call-outs for like Golden Gun and stuff, where I would hear a guy say Golden Gun today, and everyone would just taper off and sit back until like the 15 seconds is gone, where the Golden Gun is down, and then people would go in and stuff. So you have these really cool call-outs that call out the Golden Gun because it's OP on 3 different people. I mean, if the person can get those 3 shots, but it takes out 3 people. So if that guy shot one guy, the guy calls it out. Well, shoot, back off, hold on. He's got 2 shots. 10, 9, 8.
I think it's funny they created a weapon that is on par with a sniper headshot. It's kind of funny how that worked out. At some points, a sniper rifle is better off than the Golden Gun because the sniper rifle could penetrate 2 people, at least from what I've seen. That's the most I've
Yeah.
seen would be a double headshot. But when you get through the Golden Gun, you actually have to level up to that point where you can get a double penetration kill. So I'm wondering, since those other matchmaking playlists don't let your classes level involved, was that part of the thing? Was that you couldn't get double penetration Golden Gun hits?
You know what? There was an ability that gave you double or like penetration through other people.
Yeah, with the Golden, that's what I'm asking about.
Yeah, the
Without
Golden Gun actually
in playlists that
there
don't.
was an ability that said you could shoot through people because the normal ability is just it hits a person, they die, but it turns it less powerful and it can go through people. So
Right.
I'm thinking that's more concentrated on Iron Banner, where you have a person with a lot more or a lot more armor or shield or whatever. And that won't that could possibly not kill a Titan.
I think the Golden Gun is always a one-hit kill. It's not. That would be the worst
It said less powerful.
special. I don't think it said less powerful.
It did. Were you using Hunter too?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
That was
I
my
was
PvP class. That's why I even brought it up. I don't think it was less powerful at all. It just went through people and penetrated. It wasn't like FMJ where it'd go through a wall and be.
well, no, because it was a trade off with another skill. I remember it. It was one of the skills under the like the skill to unlock the golden gun, and there were like three other things beneath it. The first thing was golden gun lasts longer. The second thing was, oh, that might have been what it was. It penetrates through people, but it's shorter. It lasts, or it only is available for like 5 less seconds.
I don't think. I don't know. I don't think there was like a bad thing to it.
But there was a trade off, so you could only pick like one of those things.
No, that was definitely a second tier skill, and I know for a fact the first tier skills were always activated. You could
Yeah, the
always have
first
them.
tier was always activated, but the second and third one,
We never
and
got.
fourth one,
We never got
I
third or
did.
fourth tier.
I no, I got the second and third one.
They weren't unlocked.
I
You
got
couldn't
I,
get
I
a
got
third
the
tier
second
skill.
and the third one.
You couldn't get third tier skills in the beta.
If you could,
Oh.
I got the ones for the. No, I didn't. Not
Oh,
for
you
the
didn't.
grenade.
You didn't get third tier skills. No one unlocked third tier skills. They level capped that. There was no trade off for that. There will be trade offs. There will be different advantages.
Maybe that was another under another area,
Yeah.
like under the class. I don't remember, but I remember I used it because the first thing I had for the special was golden gun lasts longer, and then there was the penetration thing that I found under another skill or something that it penetrates through people and can hit multiple targets. So I remember I used that, but anyways, in all, it's it's um, it's funny because the sniper is better than the golden gun, but only if you're good with the sniper. Not all hunters are going to be able to use a sniper as good as a golden gun, and kind of vice versa.
And I guess that's kind of what the hope was that people using the hunter. Hunter is really a EPS class in that you get one shot and you're supposed to kill that person with it. The golden gun. And I guess it's kind of the whole effect. But I guess that's what it helps in balancing is that this person now has the ability to be on par with the person that has more skill and can get that one headshot with the sniper
So
rifle.
they're trying to equal out the hunter class.
So everyone
versus
was
hunter
excited
class.
for getting triple kills, and you see all these
Everybody gets a
montages.
trophy.
See all these people with montages of triple kills with the golden gun. They're like,
Oh
yeah,
my
I'm
gosh.
successful.
That was so sad. Yeah, Kenny and I watched several videos of like Destiny montages, and I swear, so many of them had this guy with a golden gun in it getting triple kills. It was like, okay, well that's impressive, I guess. I
Yeah.
You
guess
did a great
that's-
job
It-
getting 3 bullets off. It's
It was
great.
called Keyhole, and it said golden gun over penetrates and can damage multiple targets. So there was no negative to that.
I think it was a
that
trade-off
effect.
though. Like either you got one thing or you got that.
Yeah, there was.
But does
There
it?
will be. There wasn't in the beta.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, that's more of a trade-off thing to either you get this cool thing or you get
'Cause
this cool
In
thing.
that level 29 Titan video, you see there was a one effect you could have on was that it produced a shockwave, and there's an area effect that um got hit farther out, or there was an effect that made the damage in that area last longer. So you will have trade-offs, but you didn't really get to see those in the
I think
beta.
that's what'll make some like a specific set of things that someone chooses. It'll make it not OP for any class also. So someone is able to OP their already OPness. Well, pretty much all classes are kind of be able to do this. So it won't make any class better than the other. The other thing I really looked at, or I really liked about the abilities, is that you can change them for each experience. So you have all your abilities. If you're say going into a strike, and you want to be really focused on grenades, you can set up a lot of things to make your grenades charge faster, and you can have a bunch of different armors in each of your loadouts. So say I want to be able to use grenades so much more. Use those armors that give you. I think it was discipline that did grenades. I don't remember right now.
Yeah, there's 3 things.
It was strength, discipline, like intelligence, or
Intelligence,
something like
yeah.
that. But so for the sake of the conversation, discipline gives you faster grenades. Um, so you had all these different armor types that added 20 discipline, 30 discipline, 15 discipline, all over. So you could set up for this raid or strike and just be just chucking grenades all game or all strike long, because that's something you really want to do. Same for the throwing knife and same for the super. You have a setup that really impacts speed of your super, and you could just be using the super all raid long for raids with a lot higher leveled enemies.
Yeah.
And I think it makes for a cool thing, because it's not only, oh, this is how I like my player, because there's going to be the people who just choose the things they like the best and run with that. But I think
Or if it looks cool.
with what they're talking about with the raids right now, and how the raids are going to be so dynamic and so difficult, and you're going to have, it's they said the entrance to a raid will take the same amount of time that an entire strike takes. And I thought the strikes were going to take 25, 30 minutes. The strikes on average took 45 minutes to an hour. And it really changed my
Which-
vision of raids. You remember Devil's Lair?
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was no
it-
hour-long
It did
thing.
not
Like,
take an hour long.
that was like 45 minutes when I first went through.
And the second play around, I was like,
Second
hard,
play
it
was
was,
like 20.
On hard, it was a little longer. We tried to finish it, and you had like 30 minutes left.
That was my first run through.
Was it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I just right. We had like 30 minutes to complete the thing. We didn't even finish the first boss.
We all died. We were really close, and then you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, go to kill it," and you just died.
But so that's how.
so if you're
it
really good
takes
at the
a good
game,
amount of
it takes
time.
30 minutes. If you're okay, it takes an hour.
But the turnaround on that, the entrance, the very just entrance to the raid, takes the same amount of time as a strike.
Yeah.
And it's kind of daunting when you think about it. How long is a raid going to take? Because they said there's no way people are going to be able to finish raids on their first try. We designed this game, or we designed raids, so there's no way people are going to finish them on their first entrance into it.
I want to move on to raids a little bit, but I want to go back to PvP real quick. Again, with that kind of OP-ness, I'm wondering if stuff that allows you to bring in your class armor, I'm wondering if we got a really downwatered version of it in the beta, where everyone was just kind of, I got this weapon and it does really nothing. But now that everyone's gonna have like these armor effects that are ridiculously overpowered, I'm wondering if this game is just gonna be like a bunch of people that are walking around like vehicles and tanks. Everyone's just gonna die, snap of a finger. That would really make me angry, because the entire reason I liked the Destiny beta was because the kill times were a lot longer and it took skill to kill someone. Now I'm wondering if people are just gonna run around chucking nades the entire time with
I
armor
think that
equipment.
might
They're gonna do
happen
that.
in the Iron Banner. A few weeks after the game comes out. I think that's exactly what the Iron Banner is going to be until you get up to that level and have that kind of armory on your person. But the Iron Banner for me is going to be off limits for at least a month. I'm not going to touch it, just because the scales are going to be tipped so far in someone's favor just at the beginning of the game with nothing happening. The scales are already going to be tipped so much in another team's favor that I don't really want to play it. I think I'll stick with normal Crucible fighting for the beginning of the game, at least the first month, till I can really get my person to where I want him to be.
I wonder how much they're gonna water that down. Hopefully they water it down a lot, so you do get that sort of Halo feel and kill times are ridiculously
Oh
long.
yeah, I hope the Iron Banner isn't. Um, I hope they're able, and what we're looking at so far, they've been able to do this all over the place. So I don't feel like Bungie's just gonna have this place where they just completely drop the ball and completely fail in one playlist. because if they have that place, it's going to be fixed like that. So I don't feel like that's going to be that big of a problem,
I
just
don't know.
because of what I've seen from them so
I
far.
think that would almost be a really difficult thing to fix because you'd have to remove a lot of what makes that playlist special. Something.
Well, no, because you just remove a lot of effects.
Yeah, and that's what being a higher level.
Those are the perks.
That's
Why
the
would you take?
benefit of being a higher level. So if you move to the higher level, then you're just going back to vanilla gameplay, which is the other playlist, or hopefully for.
Yeah, but at the same time, you don't change damages, you don't change specific things, but you change, or you just like ban certain things from the Iron Banner. So the
But
use
then
of
you
the
would just make
skill
it
isn't
regular
available here.
Crucible, wouldn't you? Like,
That
isn't
would
that
be so sad.
the
It's a
No,
beauty of
because
Iron Banner is
cru-
that it's
the basic Crucible is everything's a level playing field. So no matter what you come in with, no matter if you're a level 4 and you're using the intro scout rifle against another person who's using their exotic scout rifle, it does the same exact damage.
But I think the beauty
In
of
the
the
Iron
Iron
Banner,
Banner is
you
that it's
do
not
your-
level. I think that's like the whole idea
Yeah,
is
but
that
there still
someone's
needs-
gonna be a lot better than you, and there's no like.
Well, no, it's not someone being a lot better than you. It's everyone just spamming everything. And if you have everyone just spamming everything constantly, you're not entering into an area where everyone's better than you. You're entering into an area where it's it's not just madness.
It'll be
It's
madness.
like Titanfall. You're entering into a
Mm.
Titanfall where everyone just gets Titans all the time, and
It's just madness.
it's no longer about really player skill. It's just about who could get off the golden gun first, or
Or
how
who
many
can-
times can I use the Titan ability.
Yeah, and that's
Kind
what
of things.
I think
So
that's what I'll hate about.
I think it's
that.
not necessarily going to if they banned off, or if they banned off certain abilities, or not necessarily abilities, if they banned off certain like upgrades and stuff, then everyone's still playing with their specific character. Just grenades don't replenish as fast, and supers don't replenish as fast. I think that may be the way to do it too. If they just everyone has equal super replenish and grenade and throwing knife and whatever other people have replenishing.
I think the problem with that is
Everyone had
that
an even plane on that, and everything really that we're talking about right now would be fixed.
If everything was on a level playing field, it'd be fixed.
yeah, that's the
Wait.
problem with that is that there's
Well,
people
the
that
nice thing is where I'm only talking about 3 things.
the problem is that there's people that do enjoy the madness though. You just so happen to be someone that doesn't enjoy it, but there are people that
no,
are
it's
going
not-
to enjoy being ridiculously overpowered with their spamming of other people. So that's another reason why they would not level it, because I think the whole idea of the Iron Banner is that there is going to be ridiculous things going on, because if you don't like the ridiculous things
actually-
going on, go to the other area. So in other words,
What he just said might have fixed it all, because if there's people just spamming everything, no one's going to be able to really get back up to it. Like
Get
you
back
have your
up to
initial
it.
just spamming out of supers.
No,
in
and
a
that's
dead
what I was
zone.
talking about. Was that initial effect where people could just create a loophole where their supers recharge their melees and their melees recharge their supers, and they just go
yeah,
around.
but if everyone's using a super on you, when are you going to get your melee?
The next kill, so you have one kills a super, and then one kills another kills a
Ton
super
of
again.
deaths is no super, and then you finally get in your melee or whatever you're trying to get in, and that'll turn into that really.
Or find your nade hit. Nade
It'll
hits
turn
can do
into
something.
really, really big spaces between supers. If everyone is using supers like that, because you're just going to have there are 2 people on each team that are just really good at getting their supers right back up, and then everyone else, because they can't get any kills, so they aren't getting any supers. And I think it actually kind of would fix it itself, because then you would only have 2, 3, maybe 4 people using supers on the map.
You only
No one
have
else
two,
really able.
1, 2, 3 people benefiting, and those are the people that are already rich. So only rich get richer in the Iron Banner, apparently.
Well, if you want it the way you're talking about, then yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah, and that thing.
But if you wanna stagnate all, or just make everyone on a level playing field with supers, grenades, and whatever that other
Go
secondary
to the game mode. Really. That's what you do.
then it would fix all those problems because everyone would still have their buffs on their armor. Some people would be way stronger than other people. Some people would do a heck of a lot more damage than other people.
I'm gonna go on
And
with my.
it would let you be your character
Minus
just
your really cool ability that you've been working for this whole time.
minus something to be able to let multiplayer function correctly.
That's dangerous.
Yeah.
We'll have to see how that goes out.
Well, or you could just play the
Hey,
Crucible.
play our game, all this stuff, so you get these really cool abilities, and
You
then
get one shot by an auto rifle.
yeah, because yeah, that's another thing is okay. You have all these guys that are super like have a lot of health and are hard to kill. But what if you have these people that all they do to work for is these giant loops of their special abilities, and then you take that away from them, and the rest of their stuff is not that great because they've worked so hard on their special abilities. You totally take out a whole playing group then, right?
Well, I think it's the same how Kenny has a PvP person and a PvE person.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
Kenny has
My-
a specific person to play in PvP and is a completely different class to play the story by. Because he doesn't like how one plays the other, but he really likes how they play with their corresponding things.
And the sort of downfall of that was I have to play PvE with my PvP character simply because I don't get weapon drops in PvP.
Yeah.
And I had to-
But not great.
I had to keep. I got like one sniper rifle and one chest piece, and they're both pieces of crap. And I was like,
But
this
really,
is lame.
the only draw to playing or the Iron Banner is those legendary drops we're getting. That is the only reason we're playing Iron Banner.
It might
I
be
think
their.
more people are going to want to play on a level playing field, anyways.
Yeah.
And because the only draw to Iron Banner was, hey, look at these legendary things that you get every so often. Those are really cool, right? Come play Iron Banner. People are like, heck yeah, I'm down. Even though our team that played, like through most of the Iron Banners, I think probably the total amount of legendary items we received was like 5.
Yeah.
Because I got my ship. One guy got two different legendary hand cannons. Gerald got that hand cannon, and someone had to have gotten something that I didn't see. I didn't really notice. But that's the only draw to it. So I guess I doubt I'll even really be playing it anyways.
Destiny PvP
No, Iron Banner
Iron Banner.
stuff.
Oh, there's a. I think
I think Bungie's going to do okay with it. I actually, after this beta, have a lot of faith in them now.
Yeah.
Just because I saw how balanced everything was and how everything really made sense. And regardless of what they end up doing, we're going to just live with it and be okay with it.
Because it's Bungie. And
Because
they gave us
it's
Halo
a good
1 through
game
3, and we were happy with
overall.
that. So everybody gets one.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The other thing we saw is the level cap isn't 20.
Yeah, it's higher than 20.
it is
It caps
20.
at 20 for your first skill, and then you have the alternate skill, which just keeps you going.
So is it going to be 40? Like your player's level, is it going to be 40?
I don't know, but the level cap is 20 because leveling is XP based. What was when you pulled out this level 29 Titan? That was like a light level.
Yeah.
That was the amount of, moat whatever thing he had captured. So you do that. That does bring in some interesting thoughts, though. Is that are people going to feel rewarded when they play 1,000 games and are only halfway through getting up to level 20? I mean, apparently, from what I hear, the beta was super accelerated, so people could actually reach that level 8 point.
A lot quicker.
But I mean, how will people want to play it because they're not being rewarded every few days? Because I guess Call of Duty has sort of created this
Reward system.
A
generation
weird
of
reward system though, because
every 5 games
it
you
really
level
just
up.
has 10 levels, and you play through those 10 levels.
Um,
That's really Call of Duty leveling. But it gives you this constant, oh wait, no, you're leveling up. You're leveling up, but really you aren't.
yeah. So
You're
I'm
just
wondering.
getting enough XP to level up to first prestige. Because, well, if you look at me and you,
That was
our main focus is to get to the end of that XP or the end of those levels. Every Call of Duty we played.
no, because, well, that was just Ghost, and Ghost is kind of unrewarding. And
We
this
did it with Black
Yeah,
unrewarding
Ops
because
also.
you
thing.
can unlock everything.
But Black
else.
Ops, you unlocked certain guns at certain levels. That's what kind of prestige tokens kind of ruined, and kind of ruined that leveling experience. But that's what I'm wondering about is with this level 20, kind of realize how far and few between different weapon levels will be, and that kind of next step in getting that level. I wonder how much will change, if anything even changes. I mean, will it be like a linear increase in skill, or will it be an exponential, where you get the change from level 1 to 2 is like a +5 damage, and then the change to
Well, did you
1920 is a
see some of
+5
these
damage.
stuff? Some of the legendary items that guys are selling, they're doing 250 damage.
Yeah. So I'm
Compared
wondering.
to my best scout rifle, I did 62 with it.
So that was a
Probably.
level 8, and that was like 62. That wasn't even leveled.
So 120, you still have 130
See,
to
that's
go
what.
before you get there. So I think things are actually going exponentially increase each level to where you have to really build up your character anew every level.
So that plus, what was it, +5? So it went from 250 or 57 to 62. That's +5. So I'm wondering when you level up that exotic or legendary weapon, how much will that increase? Like what will that damage be increased then? Because then that more of that Iron Banner effect where a level 19 is nowhere near competitive to a level 20, even though they're only one level apart. Because they went from 180 to 200, while
So then it would be very rewarding to grow up levels.
you wouldn't hardly experience that since it's so far apart. I'm wondering if people are going to stick around and do PvE simply because no one wants to level up and they don't feel rewarded. That's all about, really, is feeling rewarded because you think you achieve something.
Yeah.
Well, I think
That's the whole
I
basis
think
of playing a video
if
game.
you're exponentially increasing your strength and armor and everything every level, it will be really rewarding.
But that's kind of the thing. It's just not. It outwardly appears exponential, but what it's doing is it's
linearly.
it's linear.
Yeah.
Since
Because
you
as
take,
you go higher, it's still going the same.
so you get.
So it's not like you're like getting rewarded with something. It's just something that rather just happens.
I can't think of the words to express what I'm thinking right now. It's kind of difficult. You have a damage jump from 18 to 19 that took you 5 days to complete, but that applied to
20 to 21.
took you 5 days to get this, 5 times the damage from going to 18 to 19. Then you get this 19 to 20 effect where it takes you 20 times the time, but you also get 20 times the damage. So it's a linear growth, but the reward is a lot more spaced out. That kind of loses its effect because you don't have like a real balance in between the classes. You just kind of get that next point, and you're like, everyone is dying now. Everything is just so much quicker.
Well, you're talking about just playing Iron Banner. Iron Banner seems
No,
like a playlist they
this
aren't going
is-
to do all the time because just normal Crucible fighting is on a level playing field all the time.
I was thinking more PvE in that, you couldn't play a level 20 campaign mission if you're level 19 because you're not going to get through that.
I think the nice thing is also that through all those through the level or through the previous level, you're constantly getting gear from the next level, along with gear for your level. But you're constantly finding bigger and better things that you can use later. So working up to being able to use those things is also, I think, going to add to that rewarding process. Because being able to now use all this stuff you've collected to be able to use, you're now going to be able to do it.
It's
And
kind of like taunting you to level forward. I guess that.
yeah,
Yeah.
from what I saw, they were really taunting us with all the level 9 and 10 stuff that I had.
Yeah, that is
Because I just
true.
had a vault full of all my gear for level 9.
Yeah.
I had rare items and everything. I couldn't use anything.
Yep.
It sucked.
I think
Um,
that's. Yeah.
Okay,
But
so
Destiny raids though.
so the last thing we're going to talk about, because we're already an hour and 10 minutes. So there was an article on Verge.com talking about Halo possibly being a bigger, or Destiny possibly. Sorry, it was asking if Destiny could be bigger than Halo.
Destiny being bigger than Halo. It already
Right,
is because it's on
yeah.
multiple consoles.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's also bigger because the gaming industry is also vastly bigger. But it's also vastly bigger because of Halo.
Well,
And I think the thing about Halo
I
is
think we
that
need to step back and look at the length of Halo, because Halo is on Halo 6. Aside from Halo Reach, Halo DMT,
I think
Halo
the bigger question is
Wars.
rather, will Destiny have a bigger impact on video game culture than Halo's done? Because Halo, the introduction that it's done to multiplayer
Well,
really
that's a fine
changed.
argument then. And the interesting thing I've heard a lot from people is this could be like Titanfall,
No,
where I've
not
sat
even
back and
close.
said, "What the heck are you talking
That
about?
doesn't even make sense.
This
They're
isn't
totally
anything
different
like
in nature.
Titanfall. Titanfall was so just uniform in being one thing.
Multiplayer.
And Titanfall was just always one thing,
Multiplayer.
regardless if you were playing Capture the Flag or Attrition or Last Titan Standing or anything. Really, just the entire time, it was just one thing, one
Yeah.
basic multiplayer thing, and it had a story element, but it
No,
I didn't
no, no,
get
no,
it.
no, no, no. It didn't have a story element.
Yeah, there was
Just
no
go
such
with that.
thing.
There was
yeah,
no story element.
it was.
It didn't
Well,
matter
there was
if
a story
you
element,
if
whether
you-
that element
Was successful.
was
relevant.
lit.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
you had some dude talking during your mission loading,
In the
and that
top
was
right
it.
of your screen, and
It
nothing.
didn't
was
matter
really
whether you
happening
lost or won the mission.
because you kept
Same
going.
thing happened anyway. So like, we're gonna survive for a week. Like the very first one, we're gonna survive for a week. If you don't capture this place, we're gonna die.
Oh, it just so happened that we found more
You
gas.
did lose, but we can survive for a couple more months.
because kind of found gas.
I know.
Whatever
Okay,
reason.
so it's not Titanfall. The other thing I really was thinking about is the stories in Destiny and then the story in Halo. The story in Halo was such a huge. The story in Halo was just Halo, and then after a little while, they're like, "Oh, this is awesome. Let's write books." And then you had 3 books come out, and then Halo 2 came out, and then you had another 3 books about Halo come out, and then Halo 4 finally came out, and then 3 more books about Halo came out alongside graphic novels and comics and all kinds of stuff. So the crazy thing about Halo is the story is such a huge part of Halo.
Yeah, it's built a
Because-
culture.
Yeah, it's
built a-
really the Halo
It
story.
has a
is built
following. It's
yeah.
not just a video game. It's the idea of Halo and all the
And
things
now they're
that
making
encompass
TV
it.
shows, and now they've made
Live
they're
action
making, They made a
movies.
movie, and they're
Yeah.
making another movie.
They have animated movies all the time.
Oh yeah, and there's been animated movies about it. So we see
Will Destiny have the same
Halo
impact?
has created this crazy culture of around it, similar to like kind of how Star Wars did, but a different scale and
It's more
different idea.
video game oriented.
But Destiny, the entire time I played, I had no idea what the heck was going on in the background.
Story.
No
Felt
idea.
more disconnected.
I couldn't grasp what the heck was going on.
But I think that's because it's so open. The
It may be a
PvE
beta,
idea.
and that was the problem. But I love Tyrion Lannister coming around talking to me and telling me stuff. Every time he opened his, or every time that little ghost lit up, I was happy. No idea what the heck is going on with him. I've read stuff about ghosts being these weird things that the Traveler created to find people to be helped, and then I've heard weird things about the Guardians. Just the Guardians are all actually resurrected dead people, but then there's like the cyborg ones that are like cyborg things those aren't resurrected dead
Exos.
people. Those are just machine. I'm so freaking confused on what's going on in this world, like story wise, because all I'm hearing is the Guardians are like dead people from the past. But what I'm seeing is like, no, the Guardians are actually just like people in this giant open world of people in this huge city that decide to do something crazy and be Wild West adventurers with their life.
I think that's a trade-off with PVE though, is that you
Hold on,
lose that like
This is I'm just strictly talking about the story right now because I'm so freaking confused on what's going on.
exactly. You get that confusion because of like the vastness of everything that you're doing in the PVE scenario. Unlike Halo, where you had a single player campaign
but
where
if
it
we
was
look at
just
something
intimate.
like Oblivion or Fallout, there was a pretty set story, and you understand what was going on in the world.
Yeah, but it was even then the main storyline to like an Elder Scrolls game was so trivial to about the big picture of what you're doing in that game is you're just doing all these vast things.
But if we look at it, I understood completely from the get go what was going on in all those games.
But I'm not sure if you're really supposed to understand what's going on after a beta.
Because in let's take Skyrim for example. I understand that I was a criminal and I was about to get my head cut off. Then a dragon came, and dragons were a really big problem. And then I was running on my way towards greatness, and I know where I came from and all that, and I knew where I was going. So I understood the backstory. I understood what was coming in the future, and I really had a concept for the game, and I really liked the story of Skyrim. I understood everything in the weird twists going on, and everything made sense. With Destiny, it really seems like there is no story. There's going to be this like three-liner, the Traveler. I really don't even understand the concept right now. Is it just a big machine?
Hmm.
Anyways, the Traveler came here, and then the darkness followed, and the other things I don't understand. The darkness was fighting, or is the darkness all these different groups of aliens?
I guess.
And they're fighting each other.
Yeah.
Because we saw the Hive and the Vanguard or whatever. Vanguard? I don't remember.
The Fallen.
But we saw these two different types of aliens fighting each other.
Yeah, I
different areas of the beta.
I think obviously like
Well, why?
well, it's the beta. So I'm not sure if we're really gonna know. I don't think they want to give away all their
But-
secrets.
If they're all chasing a common enemy, isn't the enemy of your enemy your friend? And they'd just be like, okay, it's cool,
They're
we're just
aliens.
going to kill this thing, and then we can have war with each other. I really don't understand what... So many things in that game just kind of made me go, why?
It made me
I feel like if you live in this universe, you would just know kind of what's going on. But that's a game's job to give you that backstory enough to be able to walk into that area or walk into this game and be knowing what you're doing and what's going on in the back areas of this game and being able to really comprehend these kinds of things. Because these were things that I just looked at in the game where I would just be sitting in the tower just kind of like, what the heck is going on here?
So, to
How
back
far
up,
from old Russia are we?
back up a little bit. Oh, did you hear that? One destination per planet.
Wait, what?
One destination per planet. Did you hear about that?
Oh, really?
Yeah, one destination per planet. So it's just old
Uh.
Russia on Earth. They might have DLC that comes out, but that was kind of lame.
Uh,
But to back up, we're talking about the cultural influence here, correct?
yes.
With these stories. So I think you're looking in the wrong area. It's not about the story of the, that they're writing in the game. I think it's about funding. Microsoft funded these authors to write these books and create
That's
this kind of
true.
culture. Activision, you've had Call of Duty be super successful and make millions, and Activision is the reason, or Call of Duty is the reason Activision is super successful. Activision's funding Destiny. I don't think Destiny's going to get a cultural influence because Activision's just going to be funding the game.
It doesn't have the kind of
it.
pool that Microsoft has. Activision's a publisher. Microsoft is a. I mean, it's
So you're getting these TV shows, these books, because Microsoft is funding them. Microsoft is hiring people like Michael Spielberg and oh crap, the writer for the some of the authors of the Halo books is escaping me, but they're hiring these people to create this thing. So I think that's what it is, and I think
so will the lack of a story drown it out? and make it not the same or not as impactful as Halo.
I think ultimately it never will be as impactful as Halo because we're
Because
always going to
Halo's
make this
still
comparison.
impactful. It's been like 13 years.
Yeah.
And Halo is still doing brand new things,
That's the thing, though, is
crazy
that
different stuff.
Halo completely changed the video game industry
It still
too.
is.
Yeah,
And
it's
Because
constantly revolutionizing
it was
itself.
it was a really interesting thing that happened because of custom games. Custom games enabled this game to create a really tight audience, consumer community. That's the word, community. We created a really tight knit Xbox Live Halo community. That Halo community allowed Microsoft to be like, hey, let's do these other things. And now you have this Halo community, sort of being the building blocks on this sort of culture of movies and TV shows. Destiny won't get the same thing. I get because you get this sort of effect where you may be able to build tight clans because that's what you're going to require for raids being so big, but it's not as tight knit. So I don't think you're going to have that kind of cultural influence because everyone's just kind of, well, let's just play the game to play the game and not really care for the story.
yeah.
I don't think Destiny will be quote unquote bigger than Halo. Um,
What is influencing gameplay?
as influencing gameplay, I think
You could do something big.
I don't know. It
Is it maybe too soon to tell?
really depends. It's way too soon to tell because you didn't
Yeah.
get raids. Raids are gonna make or break this game
I think so.
because you don't. From my
And
perspective,
that's what I've been looking at being the longevity of this game.
yeah.
That raids will be the longevity of this game.
I mean, PvP was cool, but I mean, this game. I mean, look at Titanfall. If you just base a game around the PvP, it's gonna die.
It's gonna die fast.
But you have. I mean, Halo didn't build it around PvP. You had customs. Customs was sort of PvP, but it was its own PvP, where people
Forge.
were allowed to build and create their own imaginations. That sort of built that community. So Destiny is going to have to build itself around raids and build that community in which people are talking and trying to sort of, create clans so they can finally beat
now
this
if
raid
you-
together.
Kind
it
of
might
like
be
the
a good
World of
idea because
Warcraft
if you look at
community.
things like World of Warcraft and Diablo and
It's time for a raid.
everything, it's built around raids.
I think,
Yeah, I'll have PvP elements, but the main draw to the game is built around
Yeah.
different
Give
kinds
us
of
a raid
raids.
at
that's why I'm gonna kill them if they go to matchmaking because that's what's gonna do. Have you heard about that? Them like people trying to push for matchmaking and raids. And they create this watered down raid effect where you can sit there for maybe an hour and a half and do this and it won't be as rewarding. But
Well, I think the drawback to something like that may being it's probably going to be impossible to finish a raid with a matchmaking group.
Yeah.
no. That's why. It would be impossible to do that with a matchmaking group. So what they would do to fix that would be watered down
I
the
don't
raid
think
experience.
Destiny's watering down anything though.
They would have to in order to make that matchmaking experience work, which is why I would kill them if they
So
made
that's
matchmaking.
why. So if they made the matchmaking experience, it would push people to create groups. Cannot finish this raid with
But that's-
random people.
That's
No,
how
no,
World
no.
of Warcraft works, though. Is
It
you
would-
have your groups, and you don't
Because
go in
this
solo.
happened in World of Warcraft where they, initially they had people build clans so you could beat this raid. People built up, they sat there for an hour prepared what they're going to do, this, and this. What matchmaking did was you just put random people together and you had your tank, DPS, whatever you needed, and they put matchmaking in. And everyone was like, this is too hard. We can't even do this in matchmaking because these are just random people. So what they ended up doing was changing raids and making them easier so that people in matchmaking could do it. People, do that. And that's what's going to happen to Bungie or Destiny if they do that. You're going to have the sort of effect where if they do include matchmaking for raids, you're going to have it become watered down and make it easier.
So something they've been talking about is introducing a chat or a more extensive chat system into it. So something kind of similar to in the tower.
That
If you're in a certain proximity with a person, you can hear them.
proximity chat's fine, but what raids?
Would that help it? Because it
No,
seems right now that building a community in that game is so freaking difficult. It is so hard
Kind of
to
like how
try
it's
and
hard
just
in Battlefield to
find
really
new
like
people.
group.
Kind of, it's so difficult to try and find new people. Whereas in something like, oh yeah, also in like the PvP stuff, you couldn't hear anyone.
I think that was just a beta thing.
It
But
might have, I hope it was, but there was no community building
yeah,
even possible in it because you can't hear anyone. You can't talk to a guy through the course of a match. You can't find a person who does lots of call outs, talks a lot during a match, and is able to really progress your team's movement. And then at the end of the game, say, uh, "Hey, dude, you want to join us?" Nothing, and build your own little community in the game, and
yeah.
that just wasn't possible. So that needs to be fixed.
Thing.
But also, you have people out in the tower looking for people because now their friends are on or anything at the moment, looking for people to join in. I think voice in the tower would really grow the game because community is essential. Community makes or breaks a game.
Yeah.
So if you had just the ability to talk to people in close proximity with you inside the tower, it wouldn't be wild because only 15 people can be in the tower at once, and that's less people than a big team battle match.
Hmm. You don't hear 16 people in a big team battle match. You hear maybe 6, and it's still kind of like shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up.
Yeah, but
You can think how many trolls too.
yeah. But I mean, close proximity is what I'm talking about, where people with a certain proximity
Just run after the
from you,
guys
you can hear
trolling them. Ah, I'm in close proximity.
Maybe they'll open up a chat menu. Maybe they'll like sit in your RuneScape days and sit in like the GE and like scream and dance and anyone want to join me on this?
Yeah.
But back on that on the raid, I don't really need a team that communicates and leads well. I hope they make it that difficult where you can't just go in with some person you
Where
met.
some people are never going to beat it.
Yes. So that they are challenged and they need to build up and have, a game plan that works, and kind of is aided by the person's skill. What I'm worried about though is how different they can be because the thing like World of Warcraft is that you have different roles like a DPS and people that are ranged and whatnot.
Uh,
Problem with the first person shooter is it's just a first person shooter. You just have guns and you just lay into a person and just have a ton of health. That's what the strike mission that we got with the beta was kind of lame for. It was you just sat there and shot the dude over and over again. The raids, they did, there was a raid video that IGN had and it showed some interesting bosses, but it kind of looked like you were just shooting that dude over and over again. Which, I mean, is kind of the point of a raid, but they need something that could make it interesting, like a puzzle or two. I mean, the raid video had like some sort of jumping puzzle to look like, and it was really cool. Looked cool, but I think you need something a little bit more than just to sit there behind some rail and not get shot by this guy.
and just lay into a person for 20 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree. But this beta gave me a lot of faith in them.
For sure.
hopefully.
It seems like everything that we did in the beta was very well done.
So,
Minus some little bugs and some just like tiny minor tweaks. The chat thing.
the jumping being really, I don't know.
Oh yeah, jumping just enacting full bloom. Yeah, that. But yeah, I we'll talk.
Yeah, we'll see when it comes
um,
out.
we'll talk more about a lot of things we talked about today on like September 15th. after we've gotten a good amount of time
Yeah.
to.
After
Well, even
our lives have
then, I
been
think
over for a while.
raids are capped off at
Oh
level
shoot! No,
25.
We're not going to be able to talk about raids till
maybe a month in, because you had to go through like
early November.
going through
Yeah.
the entire campaign is apparently getting you to
We'll
level
all have
20.
large beards. And
We'll
So-
have beards.
because
Oh yeah, I heard about beards too. People were complaining on the forums saying you need to add beards. We need
Really?
beards. Which I thought was an amazing idea.
I'm gonna give all my female characters beards.
Female beards.
Just to confuse people.
Don't be sexist. We need lady beards.
lady beards.
All right, cool. Well, I think that's going to wrap up our first inaugural podcast. We just hit barely over 1 hour and 30 minutes. I think that's a good place to sit. If you're listening to this somewhere vast in the future and say, wow, these guys have come a long way since then, that's cool. We thank you for your compliment. If you say we've really tanked since then, give us a break. Come on. Thanks for listening. Until next time. I don't know what our name is yet.